Hi guys, it's Dr. Pam and I'm here with this week's burning question. And it's actually an update on burning question 2, which involved the FDA report linking grain-free diets with the development of DCM or Dilative Cardiomyopathy. Now, we talked about the initial report in June of last year and the follow-up report in December of last year. We just had another follow-up report at the end of last month, June of 2019. Now, in that report, it actually was working with the same suppositions that they had in the initial report, but giving a little bit more information. And to be honest, there wasn't a ton of information there. It just didn't have a lot of teeth. There was a lot of rah, we're working with so-and-so, we're doing this, we're doing that. But when you get down to it, I don't know that there was a lot of utilizable information for pet owners, all right? And how to select their dog food or what the real problem is. So I'm gonna help you kind of get the big things out of that were important and then a little bit more information at the end, okay? So supposition 1, if you remember, was that it involved boutique diets. That was the small mom and pop diets. Supposition number 2 was that it involved exotic proteins. They were the culprit. Supposition 3 is that grains are necessary for dogs and cats and they're heart healthy. Now, we talked about the grains in the last burning question, burning question 2. If you haven't seen that, roll it back, go look at that because it has a ton of information that's super important for you to realize. And that foundational information will kind of move forward in this particular recording. So for those that watched it, let's go forward. So particularly, the first thing that they did is they outed all of the pet food companies who were involved in or linked to DCM, all of them. And they actually created a nice little graph. Now, I'm going to give you the link to that particular report so you can see the graph down in the comment section. So you can read through it and see if you found it to be as underwhelming as I did. At any rate, so what was interesting though is that if you really put together all of the pet food companies under the big mega conglomerates, it really didn't involve boutique diets at all. Yeah, there were a couple down here at the end, but it really didn't involve boutique diets at all. It involved the big, huge mega corporation, the Mars, the Nestle Purina, the General Mills, the Smuckers, the Champion, and Diamond was the front runner in all these. Not surprising if you know any history about Diamond, they've been a problem company for years. At any rate, so moving on, that was not a good supposition for them. Secondly, the proteins, they investigated the proteins. And while chicken, lamb, and fish were kind of the front runners, it wasn't by much. There really was no clear front runner. And guess what? The exotic proteins were down on the list. So not the exotic proteins. Now, the third thing that I think is super important is they looked at all the diets and only 91% were grain-free. So we know grain-free has an issue there. The second thing that they noticed is 93% had peas and lentils. 89% had just peas, and then 62% had lentils, and then down in the rounding out was 42%, almost half, had sweet potatoes or potatoes. Now, what's the linking theme here? What's the common thread? The common thread is they're all starchy carbohydrates. And remember about what we talked about in the last video. Dogs and cats don't have the biochemistry, they don't have the anatomy, and they don't have the physiology to digest or initiate the digestion of starchy carbohydrates. That's why they don't do well on grains. And they're very inflammatory producing in the dogs and cats, all right? So I thought that was interesting. But better yet, the fourth point is they looked at the diets again, and almost 90% of them were dry food. And you're thinking, Dr. Pam, so what? Well, here's the deal. If you look at the sales, the projected sales of dry food for cats and dogs in the United States in this year, it's going to be $9.2 billion. The next category down is your wet food, which is $2.4 billion. So dry food is the most fed, highest amount of dogs and cats are fed dry food in the United States than the other forms. And why is that important? Because dry food is the most deficiency producing food on the market. It destroys your gut biochemistry. It destroys any potential for having any vitamins or minerals because they take it up to such a high temperature in the extruding process that it obliterates all your nutrients. It denatures the nutrients, the proteins, the enzymes, the vitamins, the minerals. And then you have to add back synthetic stuff to actually bring it up to what the bag tells you is in there. And so think of it this way. Suppose you ate a bowl of total cereal 3 times a day for your life. How healthy do you think you would be? Now let's say you have kids, you and your husband have kids, or you and your wife have kids. And those kids do the same thing. And then the next generation, and then the next generation. What do you think would happen? It's got 100% of the RDA. Yes? Think about that. Guys, I've been a veterinarian for 25 years. I've had the beauty of being able to have perspective on how things are rolling. And if we really stopped as veterinarians and looked at the quality of life of our pets, it's decreasing. I noticed that in the first 7 years. It's decreasing. And so you have an option at this juncture to follow the clever marketing, because I'm going to tell you two things about our nation. One, we have amazing marketing. I'm just really impressed with the marketing ability of the United States. The second thing is that we're busy. We're a busy nation. We have instant gratification with our phones, with our computers and our pads and such like that. And people don't take the time. And it's just that you're so busy, it's just easier to follow the clever marketing to know what to feed your dog. I'm going to ask you to take a minute to stop and think about this. This is perpetuating disease. And I'm going to tell you, every person who comes in with their dog being sick the very first time to me, when we talk about things, they always look at me and say, if I had just known, I would have done it differently. And I know you would too. So let's not hit the simple button, guys. Let's hit the nutritional button. I want you to research. I want you to get into this and learn a little bit more. And I'm committed to helping you learn what to pick, how to use it, and what to know in your dog. That's what I'm here for. I'm committed to that. So the question is, are you in? And think about that. And then if you would, scroll down, leave a comment, and tell me that you're in. You're going to help your dog or your cat be healthy and live much longer. Hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.